It's Elite POV, coming live to your area on twitch.tv.
Let's fucking go!
We are your number one place for everything in the world of all elite wrestling. And just remember, when you're with us, you'll always be elite.
Yo, it's clear to see when you open up your feed that ain't nobody better than Elite POV. We bring the heat to your screen every week, cause ain't nobody better than Elite POV. So understand every time that we speak that ain't nobody better than Elite POV. Our 3 letters is all you'll ever need, cause ain't nobody better than Elite POV.
Good morning, Elite POV. I'm not going to do Good Morning Leaks. That show doesn't exist anymore. But good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Elite POV right here on twitch.tv/Elite POV and youtube.com/Elite POV, where it's podcast time. And you know what that means. It's time to talk about AEW. And I'm joined today by, as always, It's gonna be a rough one. And this is the reason, I guarantee this is the reason why I stopped doing these episodes, because I fumble with my words more in the morning than I do at night.
That's why you need.
Oh, trust me. And Maggie's in the chat. Maggie, remember when I sent you this picture the other day? She was confused. She's like, Kyle, I don't know what that is. I'm like, oh yeah, you don't live here. But yes, I have a Tim Hortons coffee. If anyone on any audio listeners, yes, I will send you that coffee. I'll get on that. I'll be in touch with you. But yes, like I go back to my intro now. Welcome to Elite POV. My name is Kyle Masters. I'm one of your hosts of Elite POV, joined by one of my co-hosts. She is 10-star Jackie Rodriguez.
Buenos dias, everybody.
Buenos dias.
Almost buenos tardes, because it's almost
Buenos
the
what?
afternoon. It's I said it's almost a good afternoon.
Is that how you say it in Spanish?
En español.
Español.
Yes.
Say it again. Hang on. Say it again.
Buenas tardes.
Tardes.
Which, oh my God, my Spanish. I'm going to apologize on behalf of my ancestors, my Puerto Rican ancestors, because my Spanish is basura, trash.
Is that what that means? Is basura trash?
Basura is like garbage, yeah.
Okay. Well,
it's garbage.
That was one thing I wasn't basura this week, was Dynamite and Rampage, which we'll get into in this episode. But most importantly, Jackie, how are you?
I am doing great. I have to say though, usually I'm not always the best at staying up for Rampage. So having to stay up to watch Rampage and take my notes and do all of that stuff like diligently was a challenge. And I realized that at my ripe old age,
my ripe
old age of 34,
I hope you're thinking about retirement soon.
I can't hang, man. It was a tough week. And
how's that retirement plan coming along these
my
days?
401k is building up, and
okay.
I'm looking into my senior citizens homes now and stuff like that.
I'm just looking out for you.
Places to play. I'm looking for places to play bingo, and
I'll come over and play checkers. We'll have a good time.
Just make sure you look out for me, Kyle.
You can tell me about the old days and how this used to be better, and start yelling at kids on skateboards on the sidewalk. You're getting there. You're almost there. You're that close.
Like on a funny side note, didn't you hit me with something the other day where you were like, "Well, you're older than me. Shouldn't you know about?"
I thought you meant like I physically. I'm like, what did I hit you with? I thought you were gonna bring up something at the Chicago. Do you remember when you hit me with a skateboard?
Remember when you freaking physically assaulted me? No, I think we were talking about Happy Days, the show Happy Days. And you were singing the theme song, and I think I was sidetracked about something, and then you were like, "Well, shouldn't you know about this? You're older than me." And I was like, "Kyle, like Jesus Christ, I'm not that much older than you." Damn.
Hey, that was less worse than what I said to you on Wednesday when you first got into the chat to watch Dynamite. But we won't. I don't think we'll radiate what I said.
Don't.
Or else people are gonna go, you're canceled. But we're good friends. We can joke like that.
No, we know and love and appreciate.
It was just I caught Jackie
a little humor amongst
straight
friends.
Off guard. She had no idea I was gonna go with that. Like, she just joins the chat. I'm like, oh hey Kyle, ready for Dynamite? And then she says a line, and then I say a line. She's like, Kyle.
Actually, I said "F you, Kyle."
Oh, that's what you did.
It was like,
yeah. And she gave me the F you.
It's all in love, yeah. But we have a good time. It's all love here.
But yeah, it's a Saturday morning episode of Elite POV. Unfortunately, Hawks took over my life this week. And being producer hoot,
Canadian.
Yeah, it sucks. Like, I really wish we didn't have busy lives and we can nail down one. Like, if this was a business, we'd be able to nail down a day each and every single week. But we don't get paid, so podcast is more freelance this way. So, and for some of you, this is a perfect time, because for some of you that listen that are overseas, this is great for you.
Yes, we have some of our overseas listeners over here, which I love. We have Maggie, Carrie, Jermaine.
Yeah,
fantastic. I love.
Because usually it's like midnight or like 1 a.m. when we're usually live, which that kind of sucks.
We love y'all having y'all in here.
I can't do the hand heart thing. I'm bad at it, so I don't even do them. I just don't make an attempt at doing them. Anyways, hope you guys are all doing fantastic. We're going to talk about some AEW this week. It's been an interesting week. Very, very interesting week in the world of news with AEW, Jackie. Oh, has it ever been? Now, I'm specifically talking about the CM Punk situation again. It always seems like every week something comes out.
God,
right?
here we go again.
Something comes out. I'm just like, I don't really want to dig too much into it. Basically, what I want to say is, okay, so like the Elite are most likely back from what we saw in Dynamite this week, right?
Right.
But what gets me is what comes out of that story. More has now come out of that, but of what actually happened, and it really like made me sit there and go like, why wasn't this said in the beginning? Like, why all of a sudden now we find out that Larry got smacked in the face with the door? For what reason was that not information shared at that time? Because that seems like a very important piece of information. Because at first we didn't even know what Kenny Omega was doing there. We didn't find out till a couple weeks after that he was there. He grabbed Larry and ran him out of the room to save him, right? So we didn't even know that part till a couple weeks after. Now we're finding out like almost over a month later that Larry got hit in the head with a door. It's like, why wasn't this information shared at that point?
See, there's like different approaches to this because some people are saying that the reason why that information didn't come out initially is because, you know, people were closed mouth about it because it was pending investigation and some things weren't allowed to be said. Allegedly, as Adam says in the chat, which by the way, I want to just take a quick break to say happy birthday to Adam, who is our one of our
happy birthday, here. Adam.
Feliz cumpleaños.
Feliz cumpleaños.
Come on, Kyle, you can say it in French. You don't have to like say it in
bon fête.
Spanish. Yeah. But yes, happy birthday, Adam. But yes, allegedly they say that it's because it was pending investigation. They couldn't say it, but some things were being sung about like canaries in the beginning, you know, during the investigation.
Canaries,
so how come those things were able to be spoken about? And you would think that something that big would have been said in the beginning. And we would have known at least something about it. And now all of a sudden, you know, and then I feel like the story from Punk's side of things has changed a handful of times. The door got kicked open, then it didn't get kicked open, and then it did get kicked open. I'm like, so which one is it? So it becomes very hard to like sit there and say like 100%, like, how do I believe any of this? If one side of this, like if one person's side has changed several times, but then the other side of it hasn't changed at all.
Right.
It's just like, I don't know. I'm so over this.
You know what?
I can't.
Poor Larry, though. That dog didn't deserve getting his head crushed by the door.
Oh my God, it's a horrible thought. Like if that is in fact true, animals are so innocent. Animals don't ask to get involved in any of this. And you know, God forbid if that is true and Larry was hurt.
Yeah.
Poor Larry. I don't condone any animals getting injured or anything like that. It's very unfortunate, but my God, when all is said and done, I just want this freaking whole fiasco to be over and done with so we can stop talking about this.
Well, it looks like CM Punk's time with AEW is over because following reports have shown they're pretty much working on the buyout and 90% of the roster don't want him there and say he's a nightmare to deal with backstage. So don't think he's going to be back. Really don't think he's going to be back, but we'll see. Again, like I said it on the last show. You never know. 1 week, things could work out. They sit down, you know what I mean? Shake hands, say their sorries, and then he's back on TV. We don't know. Right?
Yeah.
Just got to wait and see. But I wanted just to bring it. I didn't really want to bring it up, but I'm like, hey, I have to bring it up because, like, why did that part of the story not get set up until now? It just doesn't make like if that's why Omega went in there to take Larry out because he got hit with the door and he wanted him out of there, you know what I mean, and saved him. Why wasn't that not said at that time as to why? Like all it was said at that time was Omega got Larry out of there to save from getting hit from the scruffle that was happening, right?
The skerfuffle.
I don't know how to call it. Whatever they want, the childish roughhousing.
Yes.
Anyways, other than that, not really much else news-wise. It's been a pretty slow week. I really can't really think of anything off the top of my head that's happened this week that I really don't want to talk about. Full Gears in a couple of weeks. We're getting close. We're going to be there again. My shirt came in this week. It's actually up there. It's right up there.
Mine is over in my living room.
It came out really nice. We did like a concert style t-shirt for our Full Gear shirt, guys. We did like the logo on the front and on the back. It's concert style, has a list and dates of the shows we went to. Really cool. I loved how it came out. But yeah, AEW this week. Dynamite I thought it was a great episode of Dynamite. It flowed pretty well. It kind of flowed almost the same as last week's. And then we got some interesting tidbits out of this week too, because out of this week, Jericho's now going to face a former, again, he's doing this storyline with going through the former Ring of Honor champions. Who be tweeting before Dynamite last week is Adam Cole. And I don't know if he's tweeting because he's close to a return, and this is a great time for him to return because the Elite is basically, we'll talk about the Elite stuff in a minute here. But I wonder if it's going to, I know I've seen other names be thrown around as to who people think Jericho's going to be facing next week. Yeah, I've seen PCO. I've seen, I saw another name. It's bugging me. Someone will probably say it in the chat, but I've seen other names get thrown around who it might.
People keep bringing up Nigel McGuinness like that's like a true like I don't know
Nigel
if that's gonna happen for you, but like people wishful thinking out here. But
is that
I don't know.
So it's not the main event next week, right? Is that match the main event next week? Like, if that's the main event next week, it's got to be Adam Cole.
I don't know. Like as soon as they brought up the graphic, I because you Phil and I had watched together, and I was like, is it really stupid of me to hope and pray that it's Adam Cole? Like, I don't know what his injury status is at this point, but it's just like I'm dying to see Adam Cole come back, and with that cryptic tweet that he put out, I'm like, Adam Cole, that cinnamon roll of a human being, as wholesome as he is, I'm like,
cinnamon roll.
He's a cinnamon roll of a human being, and
okay.
those who, if you know, he's just a wholesome human being, and I'm like, I just want him to come back so bad. You're
like William Regal. Oh, Adam Cole, you cinnamon roll, you.
Well,
I just want to eat you up and rub some cream on you.
Well, I'm not saying it in a flirtatious way.
Icing sugar.
Oh God, not like. See, I'm not saying it in a flirtatious way. I just mean like he's so sweet. He's just like so. I don't know. He's just wholesome. I don't know how else to describe it, but I just I miss him so much.
I think it's just the fantasy book is you want
back.
Adam Cole right in that spot, but I like the idea also of him joining. Looks like him joining the Kingdom, because clearly he doesn't have a faction when he comes back. Undisputed Elite's not a thing anymore. Tear in my eye went just there, but again, and then what if they're going to do this Kingdom versus Elite thing? That could be a substitute for what they originally were going to do with the Elite versus Undisputed Elite or Paragon or whatever they were going to be called.
Your favorite name.
And he used to be in that faction, so I mean it kind of makes sense, right? So I can see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens. But speaking of the Elite, we got an interesting video this week. Very, very interesting video. There were all these reports before Dynamite that the Elite could be backstage. Someone said they saw Don Callis, and then it was later revealed in the show that both Kenny and the Bucks were both backstage. And then they do that video, that incredible video. And if you guys didn't see it, if anyone hasn't seen it, go see it. We're talking like Avengers Thanos type shit. And it's awesome because it goes through like periods of time with the Elite, and then the voice fades away, and then the person of the Elite in the photo like diminish. It was so well done, and it got me so hyped. And the best part is it left you with nothing. There was nothing at the end of it. It just faded out, and that was it. And it left you on the edge of your seat wanting more. And I'm like, this was so well done and perfectly placed. and will now lead to a build until the Elite come back. Now, what does the Elite do when they come back? Do they do this whole Kingdom versus Elite thing right away? No, I'm guessing they're going to go straight back for those belts that they never lost. Technically never lost. They got stripped. And I think they're going straight for the trios titles as soon as they come back. Maybe it's going to be at Full Gear. I would assume so. You got to get these guys back on TV right away. If this has been resolved, they were backstage last night, you get them back on TV as quick as possible. Don't slow build this crap. You need them back on TV right away to build up Full Gear. You need them back on TV. So I hope like next week I really hope it is next week that they're back on TV, because that would be great. 2 good weeks of build with the Elite to build up the pay-per-view, right? So...
Yeah. Oh my God. That vignette was just so brilliantly done. Like they just snuck it in there. It was just casually like, oh, let's just drop this in here right before a commercial break. And I immediately went onto Twitter just to see everybody losing their collective minds. And my whole timeline was just everybody like, what the hell was that? Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, I was on that
Everybody
timeline.
was
I
just-
put what the fuck was that?
and everybody was just losing it. And I'm like, oh my God, brilliantly done, because it's like, it's just further cementing the fact that whether you like them or not, you can't deny the fact that without Kenny and the Bucks, you have no AEW. Plain and simple. And just the way that they casually like edited them out of these major moments. And it's just like, it begs the question. It's like, do you really want to acknowledge the major impact that has been felt without them being there? And yeah, you're right. It's like when they come back, you kind of have to fast track them back into where they left off. You can't just do this like, okay, well, we're just gonna like, casually build them back up or whatever. No, strap the rocket. Let's go. Especially because Kenny had just come back from injury.
That sucks.
And
so
you're like,
much.
oh my God. I said this before on like a couple episodes back. And it was no shade to the Bucks, but like Kenny's absence has been felt tremendously, just because I had already missed him so much from the injury, and then he was back for a few weeks and then he was gone again. And I'm like, please just give me the freaking comeback that I was like dying for.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what they do. But I wonder if they're gonna like play up a little bit of like bitterness like from them, like, for the fact that it's like, you kicked us out, like, like, are they gonna play up this whole like, did you miss us? Because this shit.
Yeah, the logo right behind your head, it was in the commercial where it showed the AEW logo, and the E faded out, right? Like basically saying there is no AEW without the Elite.
For you visual watchers, my big ass head is blocking the E right now. So
oh, stop!
It's perfect.
Stop it, honey. Your head's the perfect size.
Thanks, boo.
Anywho, yeah. So I can see that totally, Jackie. The bitterness towards maybe they pull the. It seems like TK doesn't mind people mentioning the boss's name or the boss in the back. So clearly, it's a heavily used quote in a lot of people's promos. That could be one of them. Yeah, it's interesting to see how they do it, because I think they can go 2 different directions with it. They can go the let's fast track, let's get them back next week, build that pay-per-view. Or what if next week we get a similar promo, but at the end this time it's not the AEW logo that fades out, it's the Full Gear logo that fades out, signifying they're returning at Full Gear, something like that. And then that's how they kind of, you can build the pay-per-view that way. It's like, oh shit, the Elite's returning at Full Gear. Gotta buy the pay-per-view. Gotta watch the pay-per-view. What the hell are they going to do at Full Gear?
Oh my God, I will lose my freaking mind, because we're going to be there. Is it sold? I wonder if it's sold out yet. I don't think it is.
I haven't looked. I have to look. WrestleTix does a good job of that on Twitter.
Yeah.
Of keeping up.
Because that would definitely drive ticket sales back up, I think.
Yeah. Either direction they want to go in is going to drive that ticket sale, and it's going to drive the pay-per-view buys. So I'm excited. I know everybody's excited because the Elite are, everyone was so hyped for when they won the trios belts, right? That was like an incredible moment for them, an incredible moment for Kenny. Like Kenny, we saw how much it meant to Kenny. Kenny was more happy crying and excited for the trios belt than he is when he won the first world title. Like, he was on the ground on his knees when he won those trios. Those meant the world to him. So I can't wait to see what they do with this. So we'll see what happens. But we're going to get right into Dynamite because we're going to cover both Dynamite and Rampage this week. Oh,
real quick.
Oh, you have your hand raised? Yes, Jackie at the back there. Yes.
Hi, I have a real quick input because Nate brought this up. We don't have to go super into it, but I think it merits saying there has been some movement from the House of Black. I don't know if you saw this, but
I did. I got sent by our girl Kimmy. So cool. She sent me the video because she's so cool.
So cool, Kimmy. But yes, they're both every member of the House of Black posted their own individual spin on it, but the premise is all the same. So there were some video vignettes posted by Malachi, Buddy, Julia, and Brody King, all alluding to the House of Black. And if this is showing an imminent return for the House of Black, oh my God.
Yeah, that'll drive your pay-per-view sales too, or even if they surprise,
Give it to me now, because obviously the last time that we saw the House of Black all together was at All Out. And just please inject this into my veins because I love that faction so much. And, there was so much speculation around them and if they would come back, where they were going, if they were going to completely disband, where Malachi was going, etc., etc. And just to see anything from them is a positive thing, and I hope that is an indication that they are going to be returning soon.
So do you think this was do you think this was planned? Because when the first Full Gear commercial came out, weren't the House of Black in the commercial? But you didn't see their faces. They had all masks on, and I was they're in the commercial, but
they were in the graphic and everything like that. And I think you had pointed that out where you were
they could have edited them out.
They could have edited them out or something like that.
They kept them in there. I'm going interesting. But regardless of that, hype as fuck.
Hell yeah.
I won't even say the AF. I will say the full word and drop the F-bomb on here. Don't worry, it's not like TBS television. I'm not going to bleep it out or... You know what happens? I don't know if it happens on your feed. There's no bleeping on my feed. It's they take a snippet of blank crowd noise and put it over top of it. And it doesn't sync with the level of the crowd noise that's happening at the current moment, so it just sounds right off. It sounds so weird.
It's very weird. They won't do a beep noise, but they'll do some kind of weird fade out kind of thing, and it's just, and they never catch it 100% on time. So yeah, it's just strange.
It's funny. But anyways, Dynamite this week again, like I said, great episode. They had a lot booked. They had, the hype matches on this card was great. Obviously, with your boys FTR and Serving Our Glory #1 contenders match, Riho and Jamie Hayter was another hype match people really were excited about. Penta and John Moxley in the main event for the AEW World Championship, right? Another hype main event. They had Jericho and Garcia teaming together against Claudio and Wheeler. And then Brian Danielson taking on Sammy Guevara, and we were going to hear from MJF, which we did. But a really stacked episode of Dynamite. I thought it was really good. Again, like I said, flowed really well. I think I'm going to do this a little bit differently. I'm just going to give my general thoughts about the whole show. And Jackie, I'm going to let you pick something. I know where you're going to go. I already know where you're going to pick first to talk about first. So,
Sure.
Again, tag match in the beginning was great. I thought it was really good match. I love seeing Claudio. We want to see more Claudio Castagnoli matches, so I hope this is a trending thing, even if it's just him and Yuta, because I'm really hyped for Claudio, and he's such a fantastic performer. So I hope we see more Claudio in the future. We had your boys Swerve in Our Glory and FTR. Again, I won't go diving into this because I'm going to let you do that. Interesting decision. That's all I'm going to say about that. We'll move on from that.
Oh,
Brian Danielson and Sammy Guevara one-on-one. This actually was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And it's a shame because I mentioned it while I was watching with Jackie, Phil, and Ant that, maybe if Sammy Guevara, the crowd wasn't really into this match. And I feel like that's because of the reputation Guevara has. I feel like if the reputation was a lot better with Guevara because of what's happened over the last couple of months, I think the crowd would have been a little bit more hyped for this because I felt like they were dead in a few times. And this match was fire. It was so good. And I love the decision they went. BCC was 2-0 in the night, so it was great. Hayter and Riho had a really great women's match. A lot of alluded time. This is great. It looks like this is an actual change we're seeing ever since Saraya came here, right? It looks like for sure that they're going with this full. I know it was at 9:20. Yeah, I know. I understand. I don't think there's guys. Again, we can sit here and complain about the 9:20 time slot every week, but there's got to be some sort of metric that they're following for them to do that, right? There's got to be like when the women demographic is tuning in the most is at that point, so they put the women's match at that point. Or there's some sort of demographic that's always tuning in at that time slot that they're going to get a good amount of views. You know what I mean? Because every time,
I still have questions,
especially with I know I do too. I really want to be the fly in the wall that understands why that time slot. But anyways, Riho draws in a lot of people too for whatever reason. She's great. Don't get me wrong. She just has a cult following. So that was good to have. But they had an amazing match, really great women's match, and then they had the Toni Storm stuff after as well. Moxley and Penta had the main event. Great match. These two absolutely killed each other in this match. And then we got what we got after. We got you know what? I was kind of impressed that they gave. I was waiting for something to happen. Like maybe like everyone, just like everyone, they're like, okay, the Elite's coming back at the end here to save Moxley, right? Or save MJF, something. Because they beat the shit out of MJF after. They gave the Firm the last thing you've seen on Dynamite TV in the main event, which is great. Because if you're not doing anything with the Firm, what was the whole point of this MJF thing, right? The whole thing from the pay-per-view till now, what was the point of even doing the Firm together if you're not actually going to do something with them? I'm glad they're doing something with them. They're furthering it along. They're appearing on both shows. Lee Moriarty and always want to call him by his WWE name, but I forget the manager's name. Stokely. Had a really cool segment on Rampage this week, and they're kind of furthering the Firm stuff with Ethan Page there too, saying he's going to be in the World Title Eliminator Tournament. I'm glad they're doing more stuff with the Firm. You know what I mean? Big nod to the Firm this week. They got the last thing. They beat the shit out of MJF, which we haven't. I don't think we've ever seen. This is the first time we've ever seen MJF get the shit kicked out of him by a group of people. That's never been done.
That's a good point.
I thought it was a great nod, and you know what? Great episode of Dynamite. But Jackie, I know what thing you're going to pick, so let's just talk about it right now. We got to talk about your boys in the background there, FTR, and the interesting decision they made of Swerve and Our Glory going over again. What do you think about this match?
Oh my goodness. Like, I want to preface this by saying that match was a freaking banger. Like, as not that I would have assumed anything different, because not just because of, hello, huge FTR mark here. But Swerve and Our Glory, for being a tag team of two singles guys that were, put together as a tag team, they just have such a phenomenal chemistry together. The way that they work in the ring, just amazing. So the match itself was great. I'm on the edge of my seat the entire time. I loved it. Let me just pull up some notes here because I know I'm gonna have some specific things I want to call out.
It was a great match. I will say that too.
It was great. Even just like the way that they start off the match with Cash Wheeler and Swerve, and I love that they do that because it's like a very interesting contrast in styles, and that's like, to me, like that's like the interesting shit there. They hit a freaking big rig on Keith Lee. They hit a big rig on Keith Lee. Keith Lee is a massive freaking guy, but Keith Lee, for being as big of a guy as he is, I'm always like blown away by how he moves, just like the agility of a guy that's that size. I've never stopped being impressed by him. Again, overall, I cannot say enough stuff about just like the length of the match. Like, it's like, for being a TV match, it could have been a pay-per-view match as far as I was concerned. But going into it, I had my fears and concerns that I kind of knew how it was going to go. And I had a very strong feeling that FTR was not going to come away with the win. I just did not want those fears and concerns confirmed. And having the Gun Club at ringside in their stupid ass cosplay.
Oh my god. With the skull caps and everything. Like
and the freaking the wig and the cardboard titles, and they've been doing that, a lot lately, but just having them there just further cemented. I was like, there's gonna be some shenanigans going on. And so Swerve has been going down the path of being very much like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to win. And if that means I gotta freaking cheat, I gotta do whatever, I gotta do what I gotta do. And he did what he had to do. So he went for the low blow, and he went below the belt. Cash was on the outside of the ring. The Gun Club was holding him back. He couldn't go in for the break on the pin. And Swerve in Our Glory gets the win. Now, I understand the formula of Swerve in Our Glory going for the rubber match. They're going to have an amazing match. The Acclaimed and Swerve in Our Glory, they've had great matches. Their chemistry is also great. That's going to be a fantastic match for Full Gear. I get it. But you had FTR as the #1 contender since April. And you did nothing. And now this is how you had them lose the #1 contendership to now presumably go into a program with the Gun Club.
Yeah.
I want to trust it, and I want to understand it, and I want to know that there's a bigger picture situation going here. And I don't know what it was. As soon as I found out that FTR was going to Japan for a New Japan show on November the 5th, I was like, they're not going to Full Gear for the tag team championships. Something just told me that they weren't doing both. That's just that's me overthinking things. But yeah, I'm like,
so
this just not happening.
Well, Adam's in the chat. I don't think the rankings are a thing anymore. I didn't see them this week. And as far as I read online, people are saying that they're gone. Like they're not doing the rankings anymore.
Good.
Yeah.
Then, good. Good. You know what? They should have gotten rid of them a long ass time ago, because this situation in particular goes to show they don't work. In wrestling, it needs to be storyline driven. The rankings just don't. If you're not going to really fine tune it, and if you're not going to really pay attention to how you're booking things, shit like this will happen, and you're going to piss people. For audio listeners, I'm pointing to myself off.
Yeah. People on audio are like, is she having a stroke? Why are you saying people so much?
Because you're going to have some, a tag team on top for months that are not getting title shots. I'm sure that there is a logic and there's a direction that they're going to go in with this. But and I want to give a shout out to my friend Floyd, who also does a podcast, who's ultra
all things
FTR
elite. Shouts
fan.
to them, man.
All things.
Shouts to you, Floyd. Always a nice guy.
He's a great guy, and he's super positive, and his take on this was super positive. And he's just like, well, they've been on TV every week, and this is great, and they're probably gonna do something really cool with this. And I'm over here like, I swear to God, like I'm so pissed.
Fucking TK, you piece of shit.
Put
the freaking belts on him now.
I'm gonna take the Floyd approach, and I'm gonna say, I'm gonna wait and see where they go. But if y'all need to know, was I angry and did I want to flip everything off this desk? Yes, I
literally right before the match. I said it to, I think Phil, I don't know if Ant was gone by then, but I said in the chat, I was like, guys, either Jackie's going to be really, really mad or she's going to be really, really happy. There's no in between. We're either going to get one or two at the end of this match.
I don't know, but Kyle can tell you the first things out of my mouth, and I'm sorry, my parents listen to the show and everything. I love them for supporting, but you're going to hear my mouth. The first thing out of my mouth when Kyle went off of Deafin on Discord was,
I didn't have a bleep button, I had a ding button. I was trying to time that right.
I was so
I got to
mad.
get the bleep sound effect.
I was so mad.
But
you know what? What can he do?
Yeah. I mean, it's
Great match regardless. Great
Interesting
match
decision,
regardless.
right? Do you think? Now I'm just throwing this out there. I gotta throw opinions out there and things out there for you guys to talk about in the chat and for us to talk about. Do you think the reason why they didn't have FTR move on here is because the Acclaimed have gotten over so much in the last month or two that it might have derailed some of their popularity because FTR is just so popular? And they went with the Swerve in Our Glory because right now the crowd absolutely hates both of them and are like booing the absolute crap out of both. Like, especially when Swerve comes out, everyone's like, "Whose house?" But as soon as he walks out, they're like, "Boo!"
I honestly think that if they would have gone in the direction of putting FTR versus the Acclaimed, and they would have put FTR over the Acclaimed, it would not have gone over in the way that it would have if FTR would have gone over Swerve in Our Glory. If they would have like taken the titles off of them, because Acclaimed is just so over right now. So they missed the boat, I think. And I'm so happy for the Acclaimed. They're incredibly over. They're
homegrown
great.
as when it comes to homegrown, because they were thrown together on their first day in the company. They weren't even coming into the company as a tag team. Tony Khan's just like, you know what? You two should be a tag team.
Yeah.
Looking at both of them, if they were both walking into the company, if you see them in their first match, I would have been like, why did you put them together? But it worked. Right?
It worked. So yeah, it doesn't have the same appeal as it does now. So they kind of have to do it this way. But I don't have to like it. But
hey, they did a hell of a job quickly transitioning into the building that feud, because what they did on Rampage was, I thought it was fantastic television. One, the Acclaimed, if you go back, guys, go back and listen. If you didn't watch Rampage this week and you just saw the highlights and stuff like I did, I didn't watch it last night. I was busy. I caught the highlights. But in the highlights, sure enough, I heard the Acclaim's pop last night, and oh my God, did they get a pop on Rampage. And this is Rampage. I know it was live last night, and it wasn't taped after Wednesday, but they got a massive reaction last night in Connecticut, of all places. I think that's where they were last night, right? They were in Connecticut.
Yes, they were in the Mohegan Sun Arena.
But man, what they did was so cool. They had Keith Lee have just squash poor Serpentico. They just needed a spot filler because that wasn't the reason why this whole thing happened. He literally got powerbombed, and that was it. And then the Acclaim come out, and they're like, sorry, we're not rapping. Sorry, Connecticut, we're not rapping today. They're looking for Daddy S, because they said they saw him earlier, and he disappeared, and they're like, we don't see sneaky Swerve out here, so we think he has something to do with it. Keith was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know where he is. And then all of a sudden, this is why people say, if people are wondering why people all go all over Twitter and say how much of an incredible talent Swerve is, and how big it was for him to sign with AEW, just watch this, what he did here. We saw a different side to Swerve. It was
like a horror film.
Yeah, a dark, creepier version of Swerve with the ending with the pliers, and I'm going like, what the hell is this? But it's so cool. Oh, it was so well done. I popped. I'm like, this is great. They did a fantastic job making you forget that FTR just lost to these guys, and that they're the number one contenders, and they're hold up. Maybe not for FTR go 469-262 over here, but for the rest of us who don't have Dax and Cash in their background, did a great job for us to move on from that and be like, okay, I'm invested. I can't wait where they go from here. Did Daddy Ass lose a finger? Can he not scissor anymore? Is that where they're going with this? Next week he's going to have it all wrapped up and he can't scissor anymore? You know what I mean? So yeah. I like this.
It was a very interesting, because I did watch live last night, and I was just like, what are they doing here? And I'm like, this is a very interesting turn for AEW, because I feel like they don't do this kind of stuff too often, where it is like very, I don't know, like sports entertainery. But yeah, it was an interesting segment, and good on Swerve for really playing that up, because
so
I was like, He pulled out pliers, my dude. I'm like, what is he doing? Then I was like, oh, he's going for his scissoring hand. Okay.
It was great. This was so well done. I was very impressed. I'm hyped for this. And you know what? It's gonna build more towards Sword of Glory ain't gonna win the belts back. I can't see that. Unless I don't know, to be honest, right now. You know what? I'm not gonna give my early prediction yet. I'm gonna wait. I want to see how the rest of this build goes. But yeah, fantastic. I know MJF had a segment too. Kind of skipped over that. Another fantastic promo by MJF. He was out there with Renee, and man, and MJF. Every week he's just been adding zeros. Well, can we bring this up here? Because Phil in our chat this week, our text chat, was like, "Damn, Kyle was right," because of the current rumors. I said months ago on this podcast, months ago. And if anyone that's been listening to us for a while, if they remember, they'll remember. If not, I said it months ago on the show. I said it months ago in our text chat constantly that I'm like, you know what? MJF, I guarantee you, is signed. I guarantee you they signed an extension. And they're just playing this up 2024 thing just to create hype. Sure enough, what news comes out this week that he potentially is signed to an extension already, and this 2024 is just part of storyline. So I keep saying, and what I wanted to say there is he keeps adding zeros to the end of his contract in 2024. Meanwhile, this man's probably already has zeros at the end of his contract right now, and he's signed for a good long-term 8 to 10 years, whatever it is. Because if he's not, and that's rumor, and it's not actually true, and there is a 2024 bidding war, he is adding more zeros to the end of his dotted line because he is cutting promo after promo after promo every week and is looking like he's primed and ready for that world title. So it's going to be interesting. And then we got what we got at the end of Dynamite this week, right? This was a great episode for MJF and Moxley. This build towards the world title match, right? This is your main event of Full Gear. It's Mox versus MJF. And man, that crowd is going to be so MJF heavy. I know we're not in Long Island, but man, are we close enough that crowd is going to be heavy MJF. Poor Moxley.
And it's crazy to think that it's like this is not the first time that we're getting this match. You know, we had Mox and MJF. I believe it was All Out 2020 was the first time that we got this championship match. And it was such a different dynamic back then. And MJF was such a different character back then. Mox is Mox. He's always going to be insanely over with the crowd. But now people are starting to ride that line of like being very pro MJF because he's just winning people over left and right because he is really just that talented on the microphone and just like the way that he imitated Mox in front of Mox's wife. And shout out to Renee for like selling that with her expressions and everything like that. She's just like watching him like, are you freaking serious?
She's proving too that she's been in a bang on signing. Like that was a great move by AEW to get her as an on-screen personality. That was fantastic.
Her fingerprints are all over every episode. She's like her being added to being like a backstage correspondent and her doing a lot of these in-ring promo, like, interviews and stuff like that. She adds a great dynamic to a lot of those segments. So shout out to her for that. But like MJF, like, stomping around, he's like, I'm going to like eat your bones and I'm going to drink your blood and I'm going to do that.
I'm John Moxley.
Like, he's like, he's such a dick. Like, you know what I mean? But it's just like, it's so immature and childish, but it is very comical in a way. So it's just different levels to the personality now that he's allowing himself to grow within the character, whereas it was very one note in the beginning. So it's going to be really interesting to be in the crowd and see and hear the way that they're reacting to him and the way that I feel it is going to be very split for Full Gear.
Right. And I see you guys in the chat with your theories. Bang on. I like because we know MJF. AEW is all about full circle moments. They're all about long-term storytelling. So I can 100% see a lot of these things happening. I do want to say you're amazing, though. At this rate, MJF is going to get a Patrick Mahomes $450 million contract. I'm like, hey, if Tony Khan needs to talk to Papa Khan to terminate one of those NFL players in the Jacksonville Jaguars and making a lot of money to allocate that to MJF, I do so. Sorry, can't play for the Jags anymore. Got to give this money to Maxwell.
You gotta give
Deserves
that money
it.
to MJF.
He's making more money than you. He's generating more than you are right now. Anyways, anything else you want to talk about Dynamite, Jack, before we move on to Rampage?
I will say that match between Danielson and Sammy Guevara was probably a match of the night contender. You could have taken that match off of Dynamite and put that on a pay-per-view also, and it was great.
Yep.
Like you said, the match had some points where you were saying like you felt that the way that the crowd views Sammy Guevara might impact the way that they react to the match. I think the crowd got really into it probably around the midway point. Sammy Guevara, like regardless of how you feel about him as a person, because I'm not really hyped on Sammy Guevara just in general, but what he's able to do in that ring is just like, it's unbelievable. Just a very talented freaking guy. But Danielson fought in that match like he had something to prove because he was coming off of that 2-loss streak. And Danielson, arguably the top guy in that company when it comes to wrestling, top-notch caliber wrestler. And I think that for it being like stuck, like kind of dead in the middle of the card, it was like the show stealing match. It was freaking phenomenal. And so I have to mention that Riho and Jamie Hayter was also a freaking phenomenal match. I want to shout out to those ladies. Jamie Hayter, oh my God, star quality written all over her. The
Absolute
crowd is
badass,
just
man.
The crowd is getting behind her so strongly that it's just like, I can't wait till she is able to break away as a star on her own.
Oh, yeah. She got the tools. She does.
No knock to Britt Baker, but she needs to like be on her own. She's like, not that I don't love my heels, but she's when she goes babyface, holy shit. Like that's gonna be it's
coming.
And when they do that first show overseas in the UK, could you imagine like how that crowd is gonna freaking lose their shit for her? But But yeah. So I mean, just overall, the opening match. You know, I love my boy Wheeler Yuta.
He was over.
That crowd freaking loves him.
My God,
they love him.
It was like a hometown crowd for him.
So. Yeah, and considering everybody that's in that match, all those high-profile names, the fact that they are still like hardcore chanting for Wheeler Yuta, you love to see it. So overall, I just want to say it was a banger episode of Dynamite, and now we can move on into AEW Rampage.
I will say lastly, and I was getting to it, I was letting Jackie talk first. Maybe if you have patience, like we say every week for fans to have, is patience. I was going to get to it. Yes, Saraya had a backstage segment with Britt Baker, which further along their storyline. It was great, man. Paige drops the "listen here, you bitch" line. I'm like, oh, we're getting spicy like right off the bat. And man, I can't wait. I'd imagine that's going to be announced either next week or maybe the go home show. That Britt and Saraya are going to be 1-on-1 at the pay-per-view. We'll see. I'm fingers crossed. I really hope so. Again, we don't really know. I know they're keeping it a hush-hush secret. She's gotten physical at times. We don't know if she's ring okay. I would assume she is. I know with the dirt sheets and everything, yada, yada, yada. Again, dirt sheets can say what they want. Insiders can say what they want. We don't know until it actually happens. So we'll have to wait until to see if it actually happens.
I don't know. Sis threw a spear.
I know. She did. We got to pump the brakes a little bit. Let's just, we can sit here and pray. And I'm praying. Massive Saraya fan here. I want to see her in the ring again. But again, it goes back to what she even said in her first promo. She's damaged, but she's not broken, right? At the end of the day. So
right.
I can't wait. We'll see. Yes, AEW Rampage. Good. You know what? From the highlights I seen, it was a good episode. Hang on a sec. I had it here and now it disappeared on me. But they did open up with It was Moxley and our boy Matt Menard.
Daddy Magic,
Entertainer,
baby.
sports entertainer. It was a world championship eliminator match. Didn't think Matt Menard was going to be beating John Moxley. I'm like, oh, poor man. Anyway, this is still a fun match. I don't know. It is what it was. Moxley just, it was a predictable win, right? You're not getting Matt Menard getting a title shot against John Moxley. The story is not Moxley against the JAS right now, so it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
Anyways, Keith Lee first. We talked about this already, though. Keith Lee had his Serpenticle match, which led into what we got with Isaiah. I don't know what we can call him now. Freddy Krueger, Swerve Scott. I don't know. Anyways,
what do you call him, Isaiah?
I don't know. Anyways, Madison Rain faced Ty Mello. It was actually a pretty good women's match. I actually went and watched the full version because I was curious because the highlights were really good. So I went back and watched the full match. We need more Tay matches. I know we've said a lot, and I know my boy Phil is going to agree with me. We need more Tay Mello matches. Regardless if she's in the JS right now, give us some more matches with her because she is so good in the ring. And I'll give props to Madison Rain, too. She kept up with Tay a lot. But I thought it was a really good match. And then Tay won with the Tay KO. We had Wardlow against Matt Taven for the TNT Championship. Matt Taven getting a title shot in his very first match in AEW, which is mind-boggling, but it is what it is. This further storyline about what happened after. Kingdom are not involved with Wardlow. We just had Wardlow beat Matt Taven, powerbomb a bunch of times, welcoming me into AEW. And then after the match, Wardlow got beaten up by by the Kingdom, and then Joe made the save. And then Powerhouse Hobbs came out, and then the Embassy came out after that.
The Embassy, yes.
And I'm like, so is Hobbs with the Embassy? Is he not with the Embassy? What's going on here? Anyways, that's how we ended off Rampage. Typical Rampage ending, if you can take it as you wish. But that's what I thought of that ending. I'm like, oof, this is a Rampage ending. But... what?
So there was something interesting that I thought because you kind of called it out with Matt Taven getting a title shot in his first night in and stuff like that. But they kind of they did an interesting job explaining that in. So there's a bit of continuity happening here because Matt Taven's first night in Ring of Honor, he won their TV title.
That's right. He didn't mention that. Yeah.
So he mentions that, and I'm like, okay, his first night in on, AEW television, he could win their TV title. And shout out to AEW for having Wardlow defend his TNT title
on TNT. But Jade had a promo on TNT. She's sitting there friggin' doing some chin-ups. Oh, Nyla Rose, I'm going to get you. Oh, I'm going to get my title back. I'm undefeated. It's like, why? I was waiting for Nyla Rose to come behind her with a chair and just baseball swing and hit her. And my headphones just came unplugged. So give me a sec here while you talk.
I ain't never mad at seeing Jade Cargill on my TV screen. Whether it is Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, give me more Jade Cargill any freaking day.
Just have Nyla come behind her and kendo stick her from behind and fall down from doing. That would have been hilarious. It would have popped the hell out of me, and that would have been fantastic. They should have done that. They missed the boat on that. I don't even care if you agree with me or don't agree with me. Everyone in the chat, people listening, Nyla Rose should have came behind her and smacked her across the back with something. And made her fall down. That should have happened.
It's so funny because Carrie, head booker, which by the way, thank you, Carrie, for making this amazing T-shirt for me. That
came out beautifully.
Custom shirt. One of 4 in existence. One of 4. One of 4.
Which one did you get? Did you get the first one? On a sports card, it says 1 out of, or number out of. Did you get the number 1?
I have no idea, but there's the other 3 belong to 3 really freaking cool people. So, but Carrie in the chat says, LOL, only the American audience care about the channel TBS and TNT. As long as they're on TV, that's all that matters, which is interesting because for them, they're watching internationally. They're watching on fight. So to them,
And they're
it
under the
doesn't
same
matter
network too.
What network?
Like TNT and TBS are the same network, right? They're both Turner. It's just it's weird, you know what I mean? Like they call the belts name after the networks, but they don't appear on the networks that the shows are showing.
At the show, yeah.
Yeah. It's like calling the USA. It's like WWE making a USA Network belt, but it's on Friday Night SmackDown on Fox.
But yeah, like I mean, like I thought it was a pretty, good introduction for anybody who's not familiar with Taven or the Kingdom to have the introduction with him versus Wardlow, getting the title shot. I don't want to say out of the way, but having that be his intro match. I thought the match was pretty good. But the ending part of it, like having Hobbs come out, and I'm like, okay, Hobbs versus Wardlow. Ooh, big meaty men slapping meat. Here we go. And then the embassy comes out, and I'm like, okay, are we doing Hobbs with the embassy?
You know the sound of a deflating balloon?
And I don't know what to make of this. I don't know what to make of it. Again, it's one of those things where we want to be patient and
Ring of
see
Honor
what
TV
the-
can't
what
come
they're
soon
doing.
enough.
Yeah, I'm like, this is gonna start getting very convoluted again, and even the aspect of it, the Warjo aspect. What are we doing here?
Oh, that drives me nuts when they mention now. When I hear Warjo, it makes me cringe.
No, I know you're not a fan of that, but I know that we've talked about the potential, okay, do we get Wardlow versus Samoa Joe at some point? Like, do we see that face off? I am down for Wardlow to fight Powerhouse Hobbs. Like, good, give me that. I would have been fine with just that, but why do we continue to interject this faction storyline? I don't know. It just
Just make Rampage Ring of Honor already, Tony Khan.
I don't know.
I'm joking, but anyways,
but overall, and I just want to jump back real quick to the women's match. I'm very happy to see Ty Mello back on, the singles competition. We've talked about that numerous times, her being with the JAS and her not wrestling for so long was a concern of ours because she's very talented, very great wrestler. And this match stemmed off of the tag match that she had with Sky Blue and Anna Jay. I'm glad she picked up the win because I was concerned that because her and Anna Jay picked up the win in the tag match that she wouldn't. They were like, oh, Madison Rayne is going to pick up the win here, but they let her pick up the victory. She's just too talented to let her fall by the wayside. And shout out to Phil, who isn't with us today, but I wish he was, because that's his girl. And I know that it means a lot to him also to see her out there and competing. But I would love to see her get out there with more aggressive opponents and stuff like that and kind of get back into the swing of things because I just think she's so damn good. And people may have forgotten that because of the run that she was on previous to her going on that heel turn.
Yeah.
And I kind of miss babyface Ty Mello, if I'm being honest, because she was allowed to really be that great competitor, and nobody questioned how good she was, because none of that other stuff was playing on into the background.
You're right. Yep.
But man, I just I kind of miss those days, but good for her. It was good to see her get back into some singles competition.
It's also good to see Maria Kanellis here because she was set to come to AEW a while ago, and there was reports that she really wanted a say in the women's division and help make it better and help out with that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was part of the deal with the Kingdom coming over, that she also gets now to help at the same time. I really do hope so. But it was really cool to see that, that they made all three of them all elite, and especially for Maria, if she does have a hand in a division helping it out and trying to make it better, sweet. All the power to that because I really want that to happen. So Good on all three of them for being all elite. I think they're going to do some great things. It looks like for sure a Adam Cole reunion is probably in the works. Would love to see that. But yeah, Rampage was Rampage. Decent episode this week. And decent episode of just both AEW shows this week. Good week this week. Again, we're on the build to Full Gear happening November 19th, Saturday. Thank God it's Saturday. Pay-per-view. Love
they should
them.
all be Saturday pay-per-view.
Get them away from the long weekends. My God.
All of them.
But yeah, and then like I forgot to mention too, like the Warner Discovery thing. It looks like they're going ahead with making AEW a big sports part of their program going forward now after this merger. So that's good news that they've impressed. AEW's impressed that much. So big things coming for AEW in the future, guys. Big things. Yeah, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. I know it's a little bit, we're an hour and 6 minutes. Normal time show. Talked about both shows this week. Really don't get to normally talk about that. We normally just kind of preview Rampage because we're either on a Thursday or Friday. But yeah, again, we're going to be at Full Gear, guys, in a couple weeks. If you're going to be there, you see us. Don't be shy.
Come say hi.
Come say hi. One of the 3,000 people that come say hi to Jackie because she's an influencer.
I'm not an influencer. I'm hard to miss. My hair is very bright. I'm like
you stand out, even though you're like 5'2".
Don't start ragging on my height, all right?
Anyways, guys, thank you all for joining us on a very special Saturday morning episode of this show. Thank you to everyone tuning in live. Thank you to everyone that are watching back on YouTube. If you're watching back on YouTube, do us a big favor. It's free to do. All you have to do is right down there, just click that like button. Hit the bell notification. That's free too. Let you know when we're going live and episodes are posted. And hit subscribe. That's also a free button. Lets us get to 1,000 subscribers. That eventually will let us monetize the channel, which is great for us as well. It supports the channel. So do us a favor and do that. Even if you don't rewatch it, head on over and hit the like button anyways. Or if you're watching live on YouTube right now, make sure you're smashing it right now. Just right there, hit the like button, smash it for us. Helps us in the algorithm side of things as well. And if you're an audio listener, we still love you guys. Thank you guys for downloading the episode and listening each and every single week here with the Elite POV family. And thank you for being patient, especially to all our Patreon members as we continue to try to get content out there. And I will say this, I've had an alluded free time been added into my schedule. A big chunk has become available now due to me and Ant stopping the eFed stuff. So we do have some more time on our hands. It was unfortunate. I don't want to get into it. It's unfortunate, but now I do have some time. So for sure, we'll be brainstorming some stuff to add to the channel and to get you to our Patreon members. So if you're supporting the channel, thank you. If you guys want to support the show, patreon.com/ElitePOV is where you guys can go and support us on there. Little as $1 a month supports the show, and you guys get some great extras down there as well. Check out our merch, maybe our merch store, ElitePOVmerch.com. I always mean to go and make sure the link's working again, but it's not. But go to our link tree. You guys can get to our Elite POV merch website, which is in our Twitter handle. So twitter.com/ElitePOVs. You can follow us on there. Again, youtube.com/ElitePOV and twitch.tv/ElitePOVs, where you can follow us on all our platforms. You're going to follow us on Instagram as well. I think it's instagram.com/ or look up Elite POV. Elite POV clips on TikTok, even though we don't TikTok, which is, I don't know why we even have a TikTok, because we don't TikTok. Phil should just be the one to control the TikTok, because my man TikToks more than any of us. He TikToks enough for all of us combined.
He's good at it, actually. I'm only good at like spending hours wasting time
looking at that feed. Yeah, that's me too. But you can follow myself at real. Oh my God, it's my old one at All Elite Kyle. Jackie, where can they follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter at LoveYouMake24, and you can follow me on Instagram at JacksTheDrawPOV. And also, I just want to add as a side note, coming up very soon on 11/11.
That's right.
We're going to be heading into our 1-year anniversary of our full team when we all came together. So we're brainstorming of something special to do. So we might have some fun stuff planned for y'all for our 11/11 episode of the stream.
But also want to
stay tuned.
I had this on screen. I forgot to mention it, but I'm mentioning it now. Charity stream, guys. Help Nate's brother. Help Jackie's brother Nate and his surgery fund. All proceeds go towards Nate's surgery fund. They're doing a full month of charity streams, fundraiser streams, weekends in November. Twitch.tv/HempUT is running that. Lots of prizes and giveaways. HempUT and friends. Check it out and support Jackie's brother Nate and his surgery fund. They'll be playing games like Fortnite, Drossosaurus, and Jackbot games on there. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning into the show each and every single week. For Kyle, for Jackie, and myself here in Elite POV. I want to do the coffee cup line because this is technically a Saturday morning podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to another episode of Elite POV. And remember, you don't need a coffee cup to have a coffee.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me down the road. That's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, we'll travel like that's old style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well.